Welcome back to Watching Business Incorporated right here on Channels Television. And we're talking about the summit that just ended in Brazil, all about energy transition. Nigeria needs about $410 billion, according to forecasts, for a successful energy transition. But let's delve into that and other issues with right here in the studio, Mr. Tayo Douglas is public affairs analyst. Good afternoon, Mr. Douglas, and thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much.
So energy transition is the new conversation, renewable energy and all of that. But one wonders if Nigeria should be having that conversation at this time. Should we be looking that way? Have we even stabilized with where we are using fossil fuel, which is supposed to be our strength, even though we now know that Nigeria has even more potentials in the gas area?
In the gas area. First of all, I would like to say it this way. The race for fossil fuel energy downsizing and the upload of renewable energy have been on for quite a while in most of the international worlds. It appears we are beginning to feel the impact. Why? Because the international campaign is saying something about carbon and all what's emission into the climate, and they discover it's having to do with the fossil fuel. No. In actual fact, and as far as almost 1940 something, some area in Sokoto State, in the present day Sokoto State, we had renewable energy in full swing there. It's because we lack the tradition of continuity, tradition of maintenance. That's why all these are now becoming to look like a mirage to us. However, the energy transition is better handled in civilized climate, or most of the climes that have done a lot to advance its cause. It's not about the climate changes. It's not about preservation of the climate alone. It's having to do with our consumption of energy. You will discover the more we have a bloated population, the more our energy demand become increasing. Here in Nigeria, we've refused to take care of that expansion in population over the years. Where will these teeming millions of people growing every day per second, where will they derive energy? Where will they source energy? We've only relied on fossil fuel as our source of energy, which fossil fuel people are now condemning today as sending obnoxious gases into the climate and by and large depleting the layers and depleting the climate and all what have you. Nigeria has potentials of abundant renewable energy sources, which we have refused to source, which we have refused to tap. Most of the problem with us is having to do with what is the legislation, what is the law, what is the policy put on ground to make sure we can harness this source of energy. Quite sure we are lacking. We don't have it. We don't even know where to start. We don't even know the number of sources open to us. All what people are shouting is solar. Solar is just a minuscule of renewable sources. Solar cannot attend to the needs of manufacturing company. Solar energy is meant to provide electricity and all what have you to light up your house, to light up the office premises. But when we talk about energy consumption, I think more should be done to look on the size of hydro green energy.
What about gas? I thought you were going to say gas.
Gas is considered to be part of the fossil fuel. It is not a renewable energy source. But however, our argument is that up till today, the foreign UN body that is saying that we contributing to depletion of the climate here by using of gas and other fossil fuel, the oil. Are we so industrialized in Africa as opposed to the in advanced world? So gas, in essence, we still need it. The point must be made. We are not saying we don't need fossil fuel now. We still need it because we are at our teaching stage of development. Even China that are talking, China too depends on the fossil fuel. They depend on.
I mean, even in Europe, they have to go back to coal.
To coal.
Yeah, in the midst of the war. But because of time, some people have said that we are talking about renewables because the world is talking about renewables. But even going by what our practice now, we're using crude oil, and we're still having issues now. We have we're talking of local refiners, they can't get crude. We've seen the not so friendly relationship between Dangote and the regulators. We have other domestic crude refiners that are not able to access crude. So I mean, when we are not able to manage this well, what's the assurance that we should even move away from it?
Thank you. This problem of having to be looking elsewhere for solution while in fact we have the solution at our backyard is something that continues to puzzle every designer minds. Number one, subsidy. Subsidy that we continue to bloat and blow out of a proportion. Is it by way of money donation alone to whoever is producing a service? Or services rather? It's a kind of mechanism which many countries have deployed in life, and they have helped to keep the price of an item being manufactured in their country to the lowest level, and affordability and availability is what subsidy is all about. In other words, if somebody is saying I put on a refinery here, government will be looking for a way. If we should allow this man to continue with his refinery, a time is coming where people will be buying his product, maybe 1 liter for almost 1,000 naira. Is this 1,000 naira affordable to my people? If the government feels no, it's not affordable and it's not acceptable, government will say, okay, can we put a kind of mechanism and process whereby this man will manufacture, he will keep manufacturing, but at the same time, the least of my people can afford to buy his product. That is what we call subsidy. It comes in many ways. Government, for instance, they much talk about refinery now, the Dangote Refinery Limited. We've read, we've known that government have put some certain things in places for him since the commencement of this regime. These are subsidy. Tax relief, foreign exchange, something preferential allocation of foreign exchange, then crude oil in local currency as opposed to buying in international dollar.
In essence, are you saying that we need to put subsidy in the mix when we talk about Dangote petrol, because we know there's subsidy already when you talk about petrol in the country?
It's already the local refinery here, as I'm concerned, the Dangote local refinery has been subsidized from ab initio since it started. Ask me why and how.
Why?
This one is refining in a Lagos free trade zone.
But he paid for that land, and he told us how much he paid for the land.
You don't ask government to give you that land free of charge. All what government is saying that even if in the midst of climate you create a free trade zones there, that is when the issue of waiver comes in. You have to start a business before you enjoy the perquisites of whatever you are establishing. Here he bought a land. What do you want to do on the land? I want to establish a refinery there. Oh, fantastic. Government has seen this is free trade zone. In other words, you are not allowed to pay tax. You are not allowed, you are exempted from some duties and all what have you. All these are subsidies. It isn't when you give somebody money.
So are you saying that Dangote petrol should be cheaper?
Oh, it should be cheaper by all standards, given the enormity of the subsidy that has gone into its
But this is a business, and he does buy the crude at market price and all that. These are factors to consider.
Now, when you say business, then we now have to tell us the meaning of subsidy itself. The English word for subsidy. This is saying that a mechanism put in place by government of a state to manufacturer to produce at an amount that will be affordable to his people, the people of the country. You are being subsidized. Farmers are being subsidized. In other clients.
Well, food is still expensive.
Not farmers are not subsidized in Nigeria.
Okay, I thought you were talking about the fertilizer and all of that.
Farmers are subsidized in abroad. In civilized world, farmers are subsidized. Why are they being subsidized? So as to make whatever they are bringing out to be cheaper. Availability, that is the essence.
So I guess we have to ask Dangote petrol or refineries how much subsidy they are getting, before we can conclude this conversation. But I mean, we're out of time for this segment. Thank you so much, Mr. Tayo Douglas, Public Affairs Analyst, for your views on the program.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
Let's take a break now. When we come back, head to the market as well as other segments of the program. Just stay with us.